Most people think getting to $1 million is the finish line. It's not. It's the starting line. And once you cross it, the rules of money change so dramatically that everything you thought you knew about building wealth gets flipped upside down. Here's what nobody tells you. The first $1 million is a brutal, grinding, uphill climb. But the second million? That one comes at you like a freight train. And the third? Even faster. There's a reason only 3.2% of retirees in America ever reach that $1 million mark. And it's not because the math is impossible. It's because most people quit before the magic kicks in. So let me show you exactly why everything changes after you hit $1 million invested, and why understanding this right now could shave years, maybe even decades, off your financial journey. Let's start with the cold, hard numbers. The S&P 500 has averaged roughly 10% annual returns over the past 30 years. And there's a simple trick called the Rule of 72 that shows you exactly what that means. You divide 72 by your rate of return, and that tells you how many years it takes to double your money. At 10%, your money doubles every 7.2 years. So $1 million becomes $2 million in about 7 years. Then $2 million becomes $4 million in another 7. And $4 million becomes $8 million 7 years after that. Now, think about this. It might have taken you 15, 20, even 25 years of saving and investing to scrape together that first million. But once you're there, the next million comes in roughly a third of the time. And this is where the psychology shifts. When you're building from zero, every dollar you invest comes straight from your paycheck. But at $1 million, something changes. Your money starts working harder than you do. A 10% return on $1 million is $100,000 in a single year. That's a full salary for most Americans, generated without you clocking in a single hour. Let me put that in perspective. The average 401k balance in America right now is around $134,000. Most people's entire retirement savings wouldn't even cover what your $1 million portfolio generates in 1 year of returns. That gap is exactly why the first million matters so much. It's the tipping point where compounding stops being a concept you read about and starts becoming something you can feel. Here's another shift that hits you at this level. Passive income becomes real. A $1 million portfolio invested in dividend-paying stocks at even a modest 2% yield kicks out $20,000 a year. Move into a blended strategy with some higher yield assets, and you're looking at $40,000 to $60,000 in annual passive income. That's rent covered. That's car payments covered. That's freedom showing up in your bank account every single month, without you lifting a finger. But here's what really changes, and nobody talks about this enough. Your relationship with risk transforms completely. When you had $10,000 invested, a 30% market crash meant losing $3,000. Painful, sure, but survivable. When you have $1 million, that same crash wipes out $300,000. On paper, that's terrifying. But in reality, people with $1 million invested handle downturns differently. They don't panic sell. They've already survived enough market cycles to know that dips are temporary and recovery is inevitable. They buy more. They get greedy when others get fearful. And that behavior, that emotional control, is what accelerates the journey from $1 million to $5 million. And here's the part that separates the wealthy from everyone else. At $1 million, you're no longer investing just to survive retirement. You're investing to create options. The option to retire early. The option to walk away from a job that drains you. The option to take a year off and spend it with your family. Money at this level stops being about numbers on a screen and starts being about the life you actually get to live. That shift in perspective is something no spreadsheet can capture, but every millionaire will tell you it's the most powerful change of all. There's also something nobody warns you about. Once you hit $1 million, your financial decisions get simpler. You stop chasing hot stock tips. You stop worrying about timing the market. You realize that boring, consistent investing in broad index funds is what got you here, and it's what will take you the rest of the way. And that simplicity is worth more than any financial advisor's fee. Now, let's talk about the acceleration effect. Right now, there are over 24 million millionaire households in the United States. And here's the part that will blow your mind. 1/3 of those households became millionaires in just the last 8 years. Not because they all got raises, not because they all started businesses. It's because compounding did what compounding does. Once the snowball reaches a certain size, it picks up speed on its own. Your first $100,000 might take 10 years. Your first $500,000 might take another 7. The full million might take 5 more after that. But the second million? Many people report hitting it in just 3 to 4 years, and it keeps accelerating. That's the part of the wealth curve most people never get to see, because they gave up somewhere around $200,000 when it still felt painfully slow. So here's the real question. What's actually stopping you? Because it's not the math. The math is on your side. The S&P 500 has delivered 3 straight years of double-digit gains. The average annual compounded return over the last 10 years has been nearly 15%. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to pick individual stocks. You just need to stay in the game long enough for compounding to take over. The difference between someone who retires with $134,000 in their 401k and someone who retires with $3 million isn't talent. It's not luck. It's time in the market and the discipline to keep going when the results feel invisible. If you're watching this and you're at $50,000 or $100,000 or even $500,000, I need you to hear me. You're closer than you think. The hardest part of the journey is already behind you or right in front of you. Because once that first million clicks into place, the entire game changes. Your money makes money. That money makes more money. And the snowball becomes unstoppable. Don't quit before the miracle happens. The first million is the hardest. Everything after that is momentum. If you got value from this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.